Hi, everybody. It's Angel. How are you? It is Tuesday, June 2nd. My name is Angel Morgan, for those of you who don't know me. And this is a show called My Show. And on my show, we talk about everything psychic. Do you know what I did today? I forgot to set up. Whoa, there I am. Oh, that's great. Hang on, just turn that down. Okay, so on my show, we talk about everything esoteric, intuitive. I tend to give tips about the do's and don'ts about psychic work for those who want to develop. And also, I talk about what to look for when you are seeking someone who is what I call an energetic. And it's a really cool thing because, oh boy, we have a lot of people coming out today. This is fantastic. It's really, really cool because I get to inform, I get to share the knowledge that I've acquired over the last 16, 17 years. On this show, though, what makes it very special is the fact that I can actually have guests sit live with me on this show. And that to me is the most exciting thing because I get to talk to you, the viewer. And sometimes we have some technical difficulties, but we're actually working out all those bugs. And this week it seems like everything is working really, really well. So I'm going to say hi to Marie-Claude, Vanessa, Lisa, Carmel. This is really cool because I have my regular audience that comes, and then I have new people every week, and that's really fun too. So I want everybody to start telling everybody about the show because it's fantastic. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about what to expect when you go and see a psychic. Last week's show we talked about psychic work and how to choose a psychic. So now let's pretend you've chosen one who's great for you. The reality for me is that when you have a psychic chosen or an energetic chosen, so let's say a healer, Reiki master, therapeutic touch, what have you, the biggest thing is that you feel comfortable with them. So what do you wear when you go see a psychic? And I've actually had that question. I've had people go, should I wear something special? Because with a healer, with an energetic, it's good to wear loose clothing, that kind of thing. And I know some psychics who will actually say, and that's a rarity, okay, but they will say, wear black or wear white or wear this color, wear that color. Black is very protective. So that's sometimes why people will ask for that. But for me, I don't care. The only limitation I have is the one you place on yourself and the one I place on me. So I don't really care what you wear, as long as you wear something. No, that's actually, it's never happened the opposite. But anyway, my reality is when you go see a psychic, don't freak out, especially if it's your first time. You are going to be nervous, and that's okay. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be feeling like, what are they going to pull out? What if I hear something I don't want to hear? The first time you go see somebody, especially if you don't know them, that can be a little not, I don't want to say off-putting. It's exciting, but it can make you very nervous. Now, if you've never seen a reader before, let's add that layer because now you don't know what to expect at all. Well, here are a few things you can expect from someone who reads. Number one, they're going to try and make you feel comfortable because when you are comfortable, you are more open. So as soon as you walk in, they might have tea ready for you, or if it's in an office setting, they might ask to take your jacket or what have you. A lot of times you'll have like I used to work in this little curiosity shop in Newmarket, Canada, and they used to have a reading room, and it was beautiful. When you walked in, it all was painted. The entire room was painted as a forest. So it was stunning. For me, in my office, one of my offices, I have a big comfy couch, and then I have my chair as well. So, and then I have another office in Toronto, and that overlooks the water. So I feel that in one way or another, it has to be either comfortable or inspiring in some way. I know a lot of people who have spaces that are very small, so they will do what they can with it. But it should be a space that makes you feel comfortable, or at least go, oh my God, this is such this is so cool as soon as you walk in. And I do have a lot of people asking me too, should I bring questions with me? Yeah, it helps. Yeah, it does. But that's for you. It's not for the reader, because my reality is that, hi guys. Oh boy, I see a lot of people coming out today. This is really great. My reality is that because you're going to be nervous, especially the first time, and you may have a lot of questions, you're not going to remember everything, right? So writing it down in point form, or even keeping notes on your phone, is a fantastic idea when you're working with a clairvoyant. So somebody's going to talk about your work and money and kids and future and all that kind of stuff. Have those questions ready. Those are really great. However, be of the understanding and the expectation that you may veer off those questions, because other things may come out for you that you need to know, that you're not even perceiving, right? The reality is that the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, the higher power, great creator, the source, they know better what you need to be there for. And it's really funny. I've actually had people, excuse me, come in, and it's their animal who's passed over who's brought them in, and the animal needs to talk to them. So yeah, they have this load of questions, but until that animal speaks, we can't get to it. Right? So, or, great Aunt Bessie has pulled them in because there's something in the family they need to talk about that's coming. So you wouldn't know to ask a question about that, but have questions ready. What I find exceptionally fun about reading, for me, is, I keep shifting because I want to be in the center somehow. What I find exceptionally fun about reading, for me, is the whole idea that I can pin your questions before you even ask them, which I think is neat. Kamal wants to say, I want them to read me, not ask all the questions. Yes, and we're going to get to that, because we're going to talk very in depth about what to expect within the actual reading itself. But I want to go step by step so people have a really good sense of what to do, what to expect. It's a really cool thing to have this show and platform too, because nobody talks about this. We all do readings, but nobody actually talks about the mechanics of what to expect in a reading. And I want people to feel comfortable in a reading. So Lisa says, even if you should still have questions, because you can still forget a lot of things. Exactly, because you have so many things on your mind. And when you're in the moment, that you're going to forget. But also, I might say something to you and it'll blindside you, and you'll be like, oh, wait, what was that question that I wanted to ask? So it's good to have those point form notes. But like I was saying, I have fun because as soon as people come in, before they even cross the threshold or start talking, information is already coming out. So I think that's a really cool thing, because I have sat with people where they look at their notes. I'm like, okay, here's what Spirit says. This is the way I work personally. I let Spirit come through. I let them talk first. Once they've spoken and once they've had their piece, then I go, okay, you know what? Now it's your turn. I do this even with my live shows with my audiences. The first half of the show is always about Spirit picking people. And then we go to break, and then we come back, and then I let people ask their questions. John Edwards, the psychic, does it that way too. So I kind of mastered mine on his stuff because it's such a great template. So when somebody walks in, I've had them actually turn around and go, oh, okay, well, here are my questions, but you've actually answered them all. So this is really cool. And that's nice for me too, because that's validation that I've given them not only what they needed, but I've given them more, right? And that's really where I jive, is to empower people and give them more. So when you go to a reader, questions are very important. And also know you can ask for others, okay? You can ask for your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, especially if you've talked to them beforehand. It's like, is there anything you want me to ask for you? A lot of readers are really good with that, but some of them just understand may not be, because it is about you. Even I've had those times where I've turned around and I've said, you know what? I want to talk about that, but this one's really going to be about you today. So please don't expect, a lot of ghosts to come in or what have you. This is about you, because a lot of us are not selfish. We think about everybody else, but we don't think about us. And sometimes it becomes a time for you. So never be offended if we don't get to your questions first, or if we don't get to certain types of questions, because you're there for a reason. You're going to get what you need. So that's the first thing. So when you walk in, you want to feel comfortable. You want to have questions ready. The phone. So you may have your questions on the phone. There are some readers who do not like that. They will not allow electronics in their space because they feel that the EMFs, the electromagnetic field, can tamper with the energies around them. I don't feel that. I feel my limitations are the ones I place on myself. If Great Creator has something to say, dude, they're going to find a way to say it. When my friend was in a Walmart and she had a flash of a child falling off an escalator, by the way, she ran over and she actually caught the child. Very cool. This was a long time ago. The escalator moving, the electronics in the store, people having their cell phones, didn't interfere with that message coming through. So my reality is that if a message is going to come through, it's going to come through. But I respect those who work that way. So the reason I'm saying this is bring a notebook or something to write on. The other thing is not all psychics record sessions. So I don't personally in office. The only time I record a session or attempt to record a session is if it's a Zoom session, because the platform actually does it for me, and then I try to send it to my client. So Zoom is really great for that. But if you're in office with me, it really is up to you. So you can have your phone, you can have a recorder. I've seen people bring those old dinosaur recorders, which I think is with a tape, with an actual tape, people, which I think is cool. We're already at 11 minutes. Holy moly, macaroni. I'm going to share our, hang on a second. I'm going to share our stream, our guest link. So if anybody wants to, whoops, wrong one. So if anybody wants to come and sit with me today, you are more than welcome to do that. Why is this not here? Oh, I have to. Darn it. And heck, I'm back. Just give me a minute, guys, because I want people to sit with me. If they want, they can actually come on and we can try. Now, remember that if you're going to do that you want to be on Chrome. You want to be on a desktop. You can use Safari as well. That's fine. But the reality is that you need to turn on and turn off your computer to make sure all of the background apps are off. These are just little technical things that all platforms utilize. So if you click on that link I just posted, you can actually come and sit with me live. Make sure your microphone and your camera all have permissions, and we can talk a little bit about what your questions are. So Maria says, Angel, do you have any messages from my mom? Okay, so I'm going to do messages a little bit later. What I want to do is go back a little bit and see if anybody has any questions. Maria says hi. Let's see, who is here? Who is here? Wow, we have a lot of wonderful people here. Even if you've been, you should have questions. Okay, excellent. So for me particularly, when you come and see me and you're sitting with me, I, like I said, will let spirit come through, and then I will let information come through to you. One of the things that you need to understand about going to a reading too is respect is of the utmost, because each reader does read differently. So if you're not getting what you need, you can actually ask. You can say, you know what, can we talk about this, or can we talk about that, if they haven't hit a point that you want to talk about. I have had people come in and they will actually ask, they will say, well, I'm here very specifically for relationships. Okay, great. We will touch on that. But sometimes I have to be pulled one way before I can go another, and I got to get that out of the way. If you see me looking down, it's just because I'm looking at questions that are coming through too. So, oh, wait, here. Oh, it is working. Okay, so I actually have it here too. So I am going to answer questions and what have you, but that'll be in the second half of the show. So right now, what we're going to talk about is respect. I have been, as a young person, to readers who have actually made me feel uncomfortable. Well, no, you know what? I'm seeing this person. You can possibly, I actually had someone say, you're not right. I am seeing this person and this is what they looked like. Well, no, unfortunately, I don't have a grandfather from Trinidad, who was 6'3". My grandfather was a Maltese Scot who was 5 foot nothing, and he was pasty white. So now then I actually asked her, I said, well, could it be my grandfather or could it be ancestral, like a past life grandfather or a and she was very offended by that. She was extremely offended by that. And I was like, okay, whatever. And we went on. I'm not going to be offended by that. If you want to ask those kinds of questions, I can ask for you. However, having said that, I would prefer not to ask questions. Just go, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is how I'm seeing it. If it resonates, say it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, say it doesn't resonate. Keep it short and simple. This is your time, so you don't want to waste it. If something doesn't resonate, go, no, you know what? That doesn't really make sense for me. Can you look into it further? Right? Because that makes it easier for the reader to turn around and go, okay, you know what, why did you show me that? And I will do that, because if I feel I'm inaccurate, not giving you something that is true, then how can I give you the reading? Right? That's what's going through my head. So what I do is I'll turn around and go, okay, so why did you show me that? And then they will take me into your past lives. They will take me into your lineage, because sometimes it will start out as something vague. So asking questions is really great. Just keep it short and keep it simple and keep it respectful. Remember that the reader is there to help you. The reader is there to give you answers that you have come seeking. So they have to be respectful to you in how they address you. A lot of readers can be very, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, only a few. It can be very, okay, sit down, let's talk, do their thing, and then you leave. They're not very cordial about it. And that's okay. That's their style. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. They're very methodical in the way they work. And I haven't even touched on mediumship yet, which we will touch on as well, and what to expect with a mediumship reading. Lori says, what items do you find the strongest or highly recommended to heighten an individual's own psychic abilities to communicate? Well, actually, I want to talk about that too, in what to expect for a reading. Because when you go to a reading, even before you get there, you yourself can do some work. What you can do is you can actually set space. You can ask your ancestors to come in. If there's somebody specific you want to talk about, all you have to do is go, you know what, please be there today. Dad, I really need you there and I want to talk to you. This person or that person, you might have a brother who's passed, or I get a lot of people who have had cases where they don't know what happened to a loved one. So you can call that loved one in. But my biggest thing is I love it when people will turn around and they will say, yeah, I called everyone who was involved in the situation in today so that you could talk to as many people as you can. I actually tapped into a detective who's still alive for a case, a person whose brother had passed away. The detective was still alive, so I was able to tap in. She goes, I just called in everybody, so I could get the information. Oh my God, that read was so detailed. It was so amazing. It was one of my most amazing experiences. So when you come in, before you come in, you can ask whoever of the light who's out there who wants to be there for me, please be there. My guides, my guardians, my angels. And as I said in other shows before, I ask and give permission to X, Y, and Z to be there. Okay, or X, Y, and Z to do whatever. Guides, guardians, angels, ancestors can only intercede so far. They can only come as so close to you. But if you give them permission, boom, that opens up all the doors. Blake says, "Happy Tuesday to you, Angel. Hope you and your family are staying safe." We are, and that's another thing. I hope I can touch on all of this. Man, there's so much information. Before you go in, you can set it up. You can ask people to come in. Ask energies to come in. Guides, guardians. You can say, God, please be there, and give her that information. And I'll do that in a reading sometimes with people. I will actually ask them to close their eyes, take a breath, and ask somebody to actually come in for them. And that is a really, really important thing to remember that you can do. Okay, you are intuitive. So if a reader says to you, close your eyes, take a breath, this is what I need you to do, they're asking you to access your abilities to help them access the information more deeply. We know you're intuitive. Okay, we know you can do this. So we need a little extra help. And sometimes people are really scared. So to open them up a little bit, that makes it a little easier for us too. When you go to a reading, that's a really important thing to know too. Where is that reading? Is it easy access for you? Do you have to take a car? Do you have to take a bus? Do you have to walk? Is it somewhere where it is an uncomfortable area for you? That's important because the space that you're in when you walk into that office or that whatever is really important too. You don't want to get in there frenzied. So get there a little bit early, 5, 10, 15 minutes early is really helpful for the reader and for you to settle yourself and ground yourself as well. Location, is it somewhere that's comfortable for you? Because you don't want to be like really worried about, oh my God, is my car going to get jacked while while you're in the reading? That's an important piece of information as well to have. So really, 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 before you get there, ask those you want to speak to come in yourself. Have questions ready. When you get there, make sure you're comfortable. Make sure the location is comfortable for you. Do a little research beforehand. Know your psychic. Obviously, we talked about that on another show, how to choose your psychic. And respect, right? It's that whole idea of being respectful to this reader because this reader is there for you. I have had people actually yell at me and tell me that, this isn't something that I wanted to hear, not wanted to hear. This isn't something that's connecting, resonating to me. Okay, then it's not resonating. I'm not going to yell at you for that. Just keep it in it. Come here. Carl made my coffee. Come say hi.
Hello.
There you go. He's not going to come on video. He's just too, he's scared of his COVID hair. I need my coffee. This is my Carl coffee today. Okay, so respect is of the utmost. I've actually had people go, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work for you. I'm totally okay with that. Let's go to something else. Keep that in the back of your mind. I'm specifically thinking of a woman who came in. She was really upset. And by the end, she was fine. We had tapped in some stuff. And about a week later, she sent me an email going, I re-listened to what you had said and what we had said, and it finally made sense. But hers wasn't really a reading. It was a healing. That's the other thing too. Make sure you know how your reader works, because when you go in, it may be a reading, but it also could become a healing. It could become something that shifts completely and you're going to be releasing something. Respect is a two-way street. Also, I asked a medical intuitive about my son and the info was so overwhelming. I emailed for clarification as time had run out and got no email back. I was an emotional mess. Yeah, that again, it's that whole thing of both ways. So as I had said earlier, and I'm reiterating now for sure, my reality is that as you respect them, they need to respect you. A lot of readers will, and I'm sorry you had that happen, Kim. That is a horrible thing to have happen. I always try to respond to people afterwards because I don't want them to think that they're just a client and a money bag that they've come in, I've done my reading, we're done. I like hearing about how people have evolved. I like hearing about people's journeys. And I have people that I've worked with now for 16, 17 years. I've watched their children grow up. I've watched them change. I watch people change from reading to reading. So that's exciting too, right? It's exciting when you have somebody who you respect as well as they respect you. And I ask for that. As a reader, I ask for that. Please bring me only those people that I can truly help, that can help me as well. And help me isn't necessarily financial. Open up my abilities, open up my experiences. So I'm going to take a couple of, I'm just going to go back a little bit. I'm going to take a couple of readings. Angel, do I have any messages for my mom that passed 2 years ago, or my nephew that passed 5 years ago? Your mom is going, no, everything is okay. Everything feels really, really good. Your nephew is feeling good. He's ready to move on, ready to move forward. The healings have taken place with him, so he's ready for a new phase in his life. Just so you know, that was for Maria. Do you see anything for money or relationship for me, please? Carmel says, for relationship is what is written. So Carmel, relationship or money? Money, I see that being in hand, I see money more coming to you because I see it being put in your pocket. Relationship for you, I think, is a reading of its own, so I'm going to let that one go. That's another thing. Wow, I'm glad I took those questions. Sometimes you can expect a reader to give you the information you want, but there are going to be times when they don't. Don't be shocked, okay? Because you have to take your own journey sometimes, and in that, you have to realize that it's not for me to give all the information. So even when Carl was predicted for me, my boyfriend, my man, when he was predicted for me, I was given a lot of details, one very specific keynote. But when I met him, there were other things about him that I wasn't expecting, and a journey I had to take with him through his personality quirks and my personality quirks and all of these different things. So there are things that they're not going to tell you everything. They'll give you the earmarks, and sometimes they can tell you the whole story, which is amazing. And I have that happen as well. It's like, well, you're going to meet him here, and this is what's going to happen. This is your life. But you know, I've also had those ones where people go, "How is he going to ask me to marry him?" Do you know what? This is the only thing a guy's got. You know, the reality is I'm not going to give that away. What if he's been planning it for a year? Poor guy. I don't want to give that away. You know, and that's something Carl says to me all the time. It's like, you know, that's something that's special for us, and it is special. And regardless, I wouldn't want to tell people how that's coming. Grandmothers who come in, is my baby going to have children? Yes. Well, what are they? When are they coming? When? You know what? Have your daughter come and see me. Have your daughter, because this is not for you. Stop pushing. Because if I give too much information, please understand that's going to put this seed in your head, and you might start pressuring that other person. So I can give you, yes, they're going to have kids. They're going to have 2 kids. I may even be able to give you male and female. It depends on each individual reading. So the reading you have your very first time may not be the second time or the third time or the fourth time. They will all be very different. It also depends on what kind of reading you have, because you may have a reading that is a mediumship reading rather than a clairvoyant reading. So clairvoyant goes past, present, future, family, money, all that kind of jazz, relationship. And then you have a mediumship, which is very specifically to connect with the dead. You have people who are specifically mediums, and you have people like me who can kind of do the whole gambit. And it's a really interesting thing because that's a little bit different. What to expect with a mediumship reading? A lot of readers, when you come in, you don't talk to them. You sit down with them, you let them tap in, you let them talk, you let them give you the messages. Because when spirit comes through, it's hard for them. It is really tough for spirit to walk the 2 worlds for the most part. Sometimes it can be a little easier. My biggest thing for people is to know that each service that we offer is going to be a little bit different. So when I give you a general reading, it's really simple, and my eyes are open and I tap in, and it's really great. When I do an Akashic record reading, which is very deep, it goes into your contracts, we can do healings, we can shift things, we can do all kinds of stuff. All of a sudden, it really does change. And what will happen is I will close my eyes, and it will take me to a place that I'm not even expecting. You will always expect the unexpected with an Akashic Records reading. And with the Akashic Records reading, again, I don't mind if you turn on your phone or what have you, but a lot of people do have a hard time with that, so just respect it. With mediumship, though, a lot of people won't allow phones in. You can write stuff down if you want, so bring a pad and paper. Ask beforehand. Beforehand, you can say, do I bring this? What do I need? What have you? Marie-Claude Desrosiers is my son. Will my son be okay? Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything developing untoward. So that's the other thing you have to understand is language. When a reader is reading you, what you can expect is one person when they're talking to you, but then when they are channeling or reading or what have you, the words may change. So I don't turn around and I say, you know what, everything is fine. It is nothing untoward. That's not the way my language works. But for whatever reason, her guides and guardians are saying that way. So I feel I need to respond in that manner. I've had some really crazy stuff come out, and it's really neat. But you have to understand that it's not me. That comes from the actual spirits, guides, guardians, ancestors who are like even quirks. Sometimes I'll pull my ear. I'll do something that a spirit who's trying to connect to you does. So expect these little things that will happen throughout a reading. Those little things are really, really important because then you don't freak out, you stay calm. Lots can happen. I've never seen a reader's eyes roll in the back of their head kind of thing. I've never seen that happen. Some readers will read with cards. Never touch their cards unless they ask you to. That is polite because that is their energy. They set it up a certain way. You will feel differently when you step into the space, by the way. The minute you cross the threshold, that space has been set up with a certain energy. So if you feel different, you may even feel uncomfortable for a few seconds just because your body and your energies are realigning to the energies that are there. There may be spirits in the room, so you're feeling them as well. Don't freak out. Give yourself about 5-10 minutes before you really make the decision as to whether this is an experience that is working for you or not. Like I said, the reader should set up a space in such a way that it is comfortable for you and for spirits to come through. Joyce, do you see me losing this excess weight in a timely fashion? Okay, so there's the other thing too, diplomacy. Diplomacy is an important thing because what happens is that somebody asks about weight or somebody asks about, a certain aspect of like their body conscious or what have you. Do I see you? Yeah, I see you dropping a little bit, but I also see your activity level going up. So that is truly in conjunction with that. Whereas some people, it's all about, de-stressing and that kind of stuff. And I can give ways to help move them forward in that direction. So remember that every reader is different too, in that they will turn around and they will say, this is what's happening to you. This is how it's happening to you. Other readers will say, this is what's happening. This is how it's happening to you. And here's what you can do to move it forward. Okay, that's really important. Vanessa Zimmerman, how are you? Quick question. I often think about my grandfather. I have an item I carry with me that's his. It's a keychain, but I wonder what he would have to say to me. He passed away when I was 6. He thinks it's really, really cute that you keep the keychain with you. He's a very heartfelt man. He really loved you. He loved who you were. He was very happy to cross over when he did. He was accepting. That's accepting. No real messages from him, just simply because I feel like this was someone who's accepting, resolved in his life. I like who he is. The illness took him quickly, they were saying, so that's something you need to know. He had time to be able to reframe how he thought about what was happening, but he's okay. He's really, really good, and he's around you. Joyce Kevin, thank you. David Bailey, hi Angel, sending much love, dear friend. Hello. This is another thing I really like is these platforms because I get to see friends, and that's really, really nice and hear from them. The other thing that we need to talk about too, we talked about a little bit about mediumship, and with mediumship, like I said, it is a little different because they have to focus, they're channeling the spirit. So sometimes what will happen, the spirit will actually come into their bodies and share the space. So they actually become the spirit. Others are able to see them, know they're there. I've had both happen. So it just depends on how the reader works. I just allow whatever's gonna happen, or let it happen. So different readers are gonna, don't freak out if they say, okay, I need you to be quiet, please don't speak. Okay, that's a really important thing to know. Laurie, COVID-19 has hit my daughter Crystal's small business very hard, showcase costume and rentals and more. She has added it to include lawn announcement, mini mascot, social distance mascotting visits. Does Spirit see any direction she should try? Is she go? She's fine. Don't do any more than you are now because it's going to get overwhelming, and that's actually what's going to make it harder for her. Don't spread yourself thin. I know people are freaking out right now about money, work, all that kind of stuff, but try not to spread yourself thin. Really focus on the costume, focus on the stuff, most of the stuff, but try not to add too much more because it's really going to, it's going to hurt you in the long run, really, because these are things you're not focusing on to get ready for when things open up, because they will. And she's going to be fine monetarily. I see her doing this for the long term, so that's not an issue for me. Just be careful of spreading yourself thin in that case. Julia Snegova, I love that name. She's like a ballet dancer. Hi, Angel. How do we ensure the presence of a certain spirit for a reading? Also, could you please explain the difference between destiny and free will? Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so how do you ensure the presence of a spirit for reading? You can't, because if the spirit is ready and prepared to be there, they will. If they're not going to show up. And as a good reader, we don't force that to happen. If they want to be there, they will. We can call on them, but the reality is if they don't want to come through or can't come through, that's fine. That happens normally if someone has just passed over over, they're going through their healing process or their orientation, as I call it. The big thing for you to understand is that sometimes spirits don't come through, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it means that they're at peace and they have nothing to say and they're resolved, and that's okay. Remember that a lot of times if we're calling on a spirit, it's for us, it's not for them. They're cool, they're fine. We just want to feel them again. Remember that what we are missing is the corporeal body. What we're missing is looking at them, hugging them, holding them. So when a spirit comes into a room, you can feel them again like they were there, okay? So remember that. Destiny and free will. Okay, this is one of my favorite topics. In fact, I think I'm going to do a show about this at some point. The reality for me is that there is predestination, predetermination, and freedom of will. So you have things that are predetermined, right? So I make a contract before I come in this life. I'm going to be a singer. But when I come into this lifetime, how I sing my voice is up to me. I can be a jazz singer, a rock singer, a politician, a lawyer, a classical singer. Right? So it's predetermined that certain things are going to happen, but then you have freedom of will. So it's predetermined you're going to meet a person, right? But it's freedom of will as to what the shape of that relationship is going to be. I can keep that person as a friend, or I can make them an intimate, or I can marry them. I can bypass that person and know that there are other options that are available. So it is predetermined in that framework that I am going to meet those people, but how I meet them and the circumstances under which I meet them may be predetermined, but what I do within that, that's for me. Okay, that's for me. So that's how I feel it works. And everything is dual. Everything works hand in hand. Everything has a predetermined purpose and freedom of will to shift it and change it. So as a reader, this is what I say. I say, I will show you your strongest path. You step to the left, you step to the right, you can change it. Doesn't make it worse, but it will make it different. If it's going to make it worse, I'm going to let you know. So with me recently, in the last year or so, they've been giving me percentages. So let's say I'm talking about work to someone young. Here's a 98% path for you to become a veterinarian, but it's a 42% path for you to become a nurse. It's a 10% to become, a nurse that goes across the borders. So an animal communicator might be 72% for them. For me, my 98% match was always going to be as an animal communicator, a psychic, and I actually humored veterinarian. And when they showed me the percentages, it actually turned out to be 52%, and I almost stepped on that path. Very interesting. So at that point, when I give the percent, people will go, well, why? And then I can start to tap in and go, why is it 50%? Well, because there's a feeling of sadness there, or it's not fulfilling you in some way, or it gets in the way of a relationship, and da-da-da-da-da. So it can become very particular. So freedom of will is there at all times, but it is predetermined you're going to be a healer. What kind of healer? That's up to you. Yeah, that's up to you. Noelle, I have a very important surgeon, MTG online for baby number 2. Congratulations. How can I keep calm and not shut down? I need to try to listen and keep an open mind and positivity up, but my mind will get in my way and block. And you know what? That's normal. So for you, rescue remedy, don't necessarily ingest it, spray it on your hand, just put it in your hand, that'll help to rebalance you. Staying open, I ask and give permission to all those of the light to help me stay open, to calm my body, to ground me, to know in my soul and in my very being that everything's going to be okay with baby number 2, because it is. So let's see, who do we have here? Debbie, I saw you had removed me. My question is, lately I have been in the last week seeing only 11 o'clocks, no matter where. Thank you as always. Yeah, your picture wasn't coming up, so I had to remove you because you sat there for a long time. Thank you for trying. The reality for me is that 11:11 is a time for manifestation. All you have to do is make a wish. Really, it's make a wish. You are at the beginning, so the cycle has begun again. What do you want to manifest? I hear a cat behind me. There is a whitey in my closet. Really? She's like, what? What'd I do? What? Okay, whitey, can you just? I love you. I love you, my girl. You're so awesome. Why are you so awesome? I don't know what you're saying. You're just so. I love my animals. And that's the other thing too. You want to expect when you go to a reader that they are going to really be passionate about the work they do. Love it. You're going to find some readers are tired because they've been doing it for so long. Some of them are very, jaded, that kind of thing. But I don't find many readers like that, to be perfectly honest with you. I find that a lot of readers are very, very loving, and they're very good at what they do. It's really, really people who, oh, here we go. We have Lisa. I'm going to show Lisa in my stream. Show Lisa.
Volume.
Hold on. 3, 2, 1. And here you are.
Hi, Angel. I can't hear you.
Sorry?
For some reason. I don't know. The volume's not working.
Oh, okay. Put your volume up. Is your volume up at all? Your volume? Put your volume up.
I turned it up, but I don't know. It's not, no volume.
Okay. We can hear you, though. Hang on a second. Can you hear me now? Okay, let me see. So can anybody hear me? I'm assuming. Oh, okay, that's weird. Oops, shit. Hold on. Ooh, did I just swear? Holy mackerel. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me see.
I can't hear her. Angel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
So I just have one quick question.
Okay, what's your question? What?
My ear has been ringing, and I meant to ask you this yesterday, and I totally forgot. So it's been ringing a lot.
Yeah.
And it's more like a hum almost.
Okay, so
but it's constant in my left ear.
Okay, can you hear me now? By any chance? No. Okay. So
I can't hear you, but I can listen later.
Okay. So the big thing for you is, please understand that when you are hearing something in your ear, that's angels, guides, guardians, all that kind of stuff. They're trying to connect to you. So when those angels and guides and guardians are connect to you, all you have to do is just fall into it and listen. Just listen. Ask them. You can actually turn around and go, okay, what is it that you need? And then be really quiet. Okay? That's all you have to do. Listen. Okay.
So a lot, like almost every day.
Yeah.
Every day and all day long.
Yep. And that's all you have to do is go tell me. If it gets overwhelming, you can tell them to step back. That's what I do. I tell them to, you know what, this isn't enough and it's too much for me. I need you all to step back and come through one by one. Okay. You can even say, come back later, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, set a time. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So now I have Julia. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I lost you.
Okay, that's really weird.
Okay,
hold on.
Gotcha.
Oh, you can hear me now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No?
Yes, I do, but I have extra. Okay, so I cancel all the noises. Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
What would you like to talk about today, my love?
Well, I was just asking you about how you can ensure the certain spirit comes. So I was wondering if I do have my brother or my father around me right now.
Father and brother stands around you, but there's another male spirit with them as well. And I feel like, and they're all family. And I feel like they don't really have anything to say. They're there because you want to acknowledge them. They need you to know they're okay. I just heard your brother saying that. He crossed over well. He's sorry he had to leave you the way he did.
How did he leave?
What does that mean? He was pulled away. I feel like, I don't feel like this was an illness. I feel like was this something that was self-imposed?
We think so. Yeah. We don't know exactly what happened, so we don't have a closure.
Yeah, so he's pulled away. This is a very sensitive reading. This is what I was talking about expectations. So I want to talk about that. Are you okay to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like there is that he was pulled away. He he didn't want to go, but he felt he had no choice. There was something pulling him. So I feel like he did do this. I feel like there was a lot of sadness, he felt very cornered. He felt very cornered, like he didn't have a lot of choices. But I'm telling you right now, he's okay. I feel like he's with your dad. I feel like he's crossed over. So here's the thing. Usually people who commit suicide, things like that, take themselves out of the picture, whatever the case might be, they don't cross over well. They usually get stuck. He's not stuck. Okay, he's not stuck. I keep wanting to say it's tragic, but I just feel like the process was accepted. One way or another, he was going to pass. Just so you know, his contract was fulfilled. Okay, his contract was fulfilled.
So that was his contract at that specific time?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that wasn't the accident. There wasn't somebody's free will imposed on him?
No, I don't see it because, again, I see him getting pulled away, but there's nobody doing it. It's like spirit is pulling him away and they're calling him home. There it is. Okay. They're calling him home. They were calling him home. So we didn't know how else to work that. Okay. So no, there was nobody else involved. Okay.
Is there any chance he can tell the date when he passed? Because we still don't know that.
Why do I feel like I don't have a date, but I feel like it's in the fall or around August?
No, it was in March, but we don't know when in March.
See, it feels more like there's no snow on the ground and he feels content and he feels, because I keep seeing leaves around, so I don't know why he's showing me that. Hang on. Why are you showing me the fall? That's when he should have left. He feels he should have left earlier, but they wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let him.
I see.
Okay. So just understand his contract was exact. I don't see a date. I really don't see a date. All I see is what he's showing me, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to kind of move forward in himself. It's like, I just didn't want to be here, but he wanted to do it sooner. He goes, I don't know what kept me here. I do. Spirit did, because you had timing. There were things you needed to do. Okay. So you had him for a longer time than you should have. In his head.
And my father is okay as well with him?
Yes, he's smiling. He's smiling and he's got his arm around him. So I don't see any issues around that whatsoever. Okay. So sometimes with spirit, what will happen, Julia, is they'll tell you their perspective. Okay. Time for them is different than time for us. So giving an exact date, I have to tell you though, I keep seeing 16 and I keep seeing 19. So I don't know if it's in between there in March, but it feels around there. Because you know what I did? I went up to his guides and guardians and they said 16. They showed me 19 originally, and then they just showed me 16. So I'm more apt to say 16, but it's in there. Okay.
Okay.
Does that resonate? Thank you. Good. I'm so happy for that. I know it's hard. It's hard. If you want anything more, just know that I'm here, even if it's just a 15-minute read for closure on this. Just let me know. Okay. Awesome.
We'll do. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
So those are difficult readings even for me because it's very emotional, right? And I can feel that in my solar plexus, and it's hard. Yesterday I had one that was so difficult. I've opened myself up to more now. I had a thing about not working with children, and then I went, you know what, but I have to be of service in whatever way I'm necessary. And all of a sudden I got this influx. So it can be really hard for a reader too. So please understand, expect them to be emotional at times. When you're working with them, please know that they have feelings. They're human. So, you know, it's like if somebody has slighted you, they're going to get angry too. If somebody has passed away like a child, they'll probably cry with you, right? Because remember that whatever it is, by the end of that session, this is a healing session. This is about healing you in some way and moving you forward. And that's really what our job is. So that's another expectation you can have is some sort of movement forward by the end of your session, some sense of relief and peace around you. If you feel that, then you've definitely had a good session that's going to help you. Now, here's the thing. I have to touch on this before we finish the show because I promised you. What do you do when you've been given a read? It's a future prediction. Well, okay, there's that space, right? Here's the reading. Here's the outcome. What the heck in back do you do in between? Okay, that's always been a hard one for me. Well, first of all, some people shouldn't go and see a psychic. They should not. And one of the reasons for that is because they don't understand that there is choice involved. You can shift things. So they dwell and they obsess and they, like, I have had people call me day after day after day after day after day. And they're just like, no, look, I've given you the reading. The reading hasn't changed in 2 days. It's not going to change in 2 days. Like, I'll give you an example. Somebody says, oh, when is my boyfriend going to come? Well, I'm seeing September, but you can make it sooner if you learn X, Y, and Z, or do some healings that I'm going to give you, right? Do a ceremony or whatever. So then they go into the ceremony. The next day they're calling me. And then the third day they're calling me. And then the fourth. Listen, nothing has changed. Let this move. You will know when to call me if and when you do, if and when you need to. And look, that guy may show up. Just chill. So what do you do between point A and point C? What is that point B area that seems very in between for a lot of people? Well, first of all, the easiest answer to that is just let it happen, right? Just let it go. Live your life. If you're one of those people that can take a reading, sit it in the back of your head and just enjoy the process, yes, seeing a psychic is for you. If you know you are an obsessor, okay, so that could be Libras, Pisces, Geminis a little bit too. You want to rethink. You only want to go to a reader if it's absolutely necessary in some present moment situation that you're having. If you know you can't handle something for the future, even say that to the reader. Look, don't give me anything for the future because I will dwell. I will freak out. The biggest thing for me is that if you're waiting for a prediction to happen, understand that it is a process. Right? So if I say in September, you're going to meet someone, or if a reader says you're going to meet somebody in September, I've had a lot of people say to me, well, what do I do in the meantime? Well, go date. Because you may have to close out some past life issues with other people before you meet that person, right? Go and live your life in such a way that knowing that person's going to exist and getting ready for them. Well, then you got to ask yourself this question: how do I get ready for them? Well, I want to be the best me that I can be. What kind of person do I want to be when I get into that relationship and start working towards that? Let's say it's a job. Right? I have a new job coming. Well, what do I want to be like when I get that job? I know it's coming in September because Angel or Angela or Alex has said that it's coming in September, October. Well, what do I want to do to get ready for that? Well, you know what? Here's the deal. She told me I was on the right path. She told me not to veer off my career. I'm going to strengthen my career. I'm going to strengthen me in my career, my understanding of me within my career. You know the outcome. There is a whole myriad of things you can do now if you want that outcome. And if you want to change it, okay, you know what? That's the career she said I'm going to have. But you know what? I think I want to change that a little bit. So I'm going to start exploring other branches and avenues, right? So my big thing is between point A and point C. That point B is the process and the journey, which is going to make your point C the most strongest outcome for you. So my big thing is strengthen yourself, strengthen yourself, strengthen yourself. If you have an animal who is passing, and I've said to you, or an animal communicator said to you, look, you have about 5 days or a week, which I can have done in the past. You have about a week before you're going to be calling me again and going, okay, you know what, come in and do, transitional life services for me or with us. What do you do from point A to point C? You spend as much time as you can with your animal. You comfort them. You love them. You make preparations mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You get the kids ready. You get your family ready, right? Because you know that time is coming. That time, let's call it, oh, I love this. I never thought of this before. Thank you, Great Spirit. Prep time. It's prep time. Between point A and point C is your prep time, okay? That is your time to get ready for the blessings that are coming for you. Kathleen says, coming in from my fur baby that passed. Oh my God, I thought it said pissed. I thought anything coming in from my fur baby that's pissed. I'm like, what? Kathleen Damiani. Oh, so rested. It was so tired. I'm sorry. I was so tired. I'm sorry I made you sad. I'm sorry I made you sad. But you need to know it's okay now. This animal needs to know, Kathleen, that you're okay with it. What I need you to do after this show is close your eyes. I want you to envision your fur baby. I want you to say, it's okay. Everything is good. I'm okay. I miss you terribly, but I love you and I'm happy that you're happy. That's all this animal really needs to hear. And this animal is hearing us right now, but it needs to hear it from you. Even light a little candle and then blow it out or snuff it out afterwards. I think you need to do a little bit of a ceremony because it loved you so much. It just doesn't want to ever see you sad, which is what it was like in life too. Okay. Hey, Angel, I'm getting married in October. This is Carmela. Congratulations, Carmela. October is a beautiful time to get married. Will I still be getting married at that time? Should I be rescheduled? I'm not sleeping and I'm making myself sick over this. So I'm hoping for an answer or a sign. Oh, I love that you're asking for a sign. I think that's a really beautiful way to go. I don't really see anything impeding it, to be honest with you. I don't at all. I find a lot of people, even though I will say to them, hey, you know what? You don't need to reschedule, or you are going on that trip, are rescheduling anyway for their own peace of mind. I think that's great, because no matter what a reader says, how you feel is what's important. So when you go into a reading, and let's say you get the answer that you're expecting, like Carmela is, and you still don't feel right about it. Okay, well then you know what? It's not about the reading, it's about how you feel about it, and you still have that freedom of will. I'm so happy that that question of freedom of will and predetermination came up. You have the freedom to change that now. And that's not something a reader should be offended by. So if you sit to me in the office and go, yeah, you know, it still doesn't feel right, doesn't feel like I can or want to do that, that's okay. I'm not going to be offended by that. I'm giving the information so you can make that strong choice for you. So when you make that choice, you are happy, content, and at peace. However, Carmela, and even as I'm sitting here and I said that, I got like that, and I went, no, don't need to. You're going to be so freaking beautiful. The colors you've chosen are so pretty. Pictures. I want to see pictures. Lori, Anne McKenzie, oh, I'm in prep time. And you know what? Most of us are. Here's the thing. We are intuitive. We are psychic. So the reality is we already know outcomes. We just don't acknowledge it, right? We dismiss it. That's what we do. And this is what I teach people. What do? We dismiss. We don't acknowledge, right? And those are the things that keep us from really fully understanding and experiencing our intuitive abilities. So for anybody out there, understand when you have that inkling that something is coming, prepare for it. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that it doesn't happen, right? But you can prepare for it. My job is to see things that are going to happen. But you're going to find that if you follow your intuition, your accuracy is going to shoot right up. It's going to be absolutely amazing for you. My big thing for everybody here today is to know that when you go into a reader, the expectation that you should have overall is that a feeling of empowerment, feeling inspired when you leave, but most of all, peace, a rebalancing inside that you get when all of a sudden the puzzle pieces fall into place for you. And oh yeah, that's the other thing too. You may have questions that you forgot to ask afterwards. Okay, just out of respect for the reader, a lot of times it's going to be, it's not, you can email them and say, listen, you know what, I forgot this question, what have you. Some readers will give you the information for that question, but please understand, this is their job, right? So I don't mind answering a question that's been forgotten or what have you, but a lot of times a reader will give like 15-minute reads or what have you. My big thing is this: if you forgot to ask it, it wasn't meant to be asked. How interesting. Come in. I'm still online. It's okay. Come on in. Carl's already been in, so you might as well be too. What? Okay, I will take care of it. Okay. Thank you, honey.
It's a lot.
Oh, really? Oh, someone's had a icky up. A sick up. I think he's in the office on a show. I have finally had a show where I have been photobombed. I have been tape bombed, like the news anchors and all those. Everybody in my family has been here today. Mark Lyle, when you have a gut feeling about something, or someone is the intuitive. Sorry, I don't quite understand that question. If you can maybe reiterate that, Mark, because you always have really interesting stuff. Marie-Claude, I love her name so much. I felt I couldn't grieve my little honey bunny dog because my mom had passed away days before. I miss her. That's okay. That's allowed. You grieve the way you need to grieve. And please understand, just because you're not consciously grieving doesn't mean you're not grieving internally, and doesn't mean your animals don't know. Your animal totally was cool with it. Your animal crossed over. As soon as it passed, it saw that you're grieving for your mother, went, okay, it's good, we're fine. Because the passing was so good and it was so easy and it was very fruitful, the animal had no resolution that it needed anyway. So you guys said your goodbyes before it left. He says you said your goodbyes before you left. So what was there really that was left unresolved? But nothing. Okay, Mark, is that intuition when you have a gut feeling about something or someone? Yes, absolutely. We label it with many, many names. And here's an interesting thing, Mark. When you are sitting with a reader, your intuition is going to heighten. Okay, it's going to open up. So when you have that gut feeling of, yeah, this makes sense when this reader is saying, or it doesn't make sense when that reader is saying something, that is your own intuition kicking in. It's like an intuitive that are now channeling, like you're an open channel. So people, I love reading other psychics because when they come into me, it's like so simple to read. When I have people who are intuitive, I can tell on the scale how intuitive by how easy it is to read them. If they're really scared or nervous, I've been taught ways to be able to get in, to make them comfortable, to open them up. Because the reality is I'm connecting to your biocomputer, and your computer is connecting to me. You're downloading information, I'm downloading information. Only difference is I can read it, and it's easier for me to read an open book than a closed one. You're gonna find too that when a reader gives you specifics in a read, it's gonna make you go, holy mother, and your questions are gonna fall out of your head. So again, writing stuff down is really important. Feeling comfortable is really important. Wear comfortable clothing, but it shouldn't be anything really specific unless the reader requires it. Mediumship's a little bit different than actual psychic reading. Or clairvoyant reading, because they're channeling something, so they have to focus in a little bit of a different way. So you may not be able to ask as many questions or the same kind of questions. And also, when it comes to energy workers, it's very much the same thing. Remember, you're putting your energy in someone's hands. I'm only going to kind of talk about that a little bit because I think that's a show in itself as well, what to expect with an energy healing. And I think I want to get an energy healer on to discuss that. Okay, guys? So with energy healers, the same thing. You have to feel comfortable. Okay, wear comfortable clothing. Just know that they're there for you. Just know that they should be gentle. It should feel good. At the end, you should be able to know that something has shifted or will shift. Okay, and that person has to resonate with you. Carmela, thank you, Angel. It's just been hard to think it's going to happen even with COVID. I know, listen, everybody, a lot of people think that I'm getting a lot of questions about COVID. I'm actually not. A lot of people are asking more about their animals and their well-being than they are about their own through this time. And the reason for that is I think innately we understand and know that it is going to be fine and that things are going to go back to a new set of norm, but a norm. And the reality is that trust your intuition before you trust anybody else's. Remember that you have family and that you have friends. Go to them, have coffee, bang heads about what you're feeling and what you know before you go out and find a reader. Because remember, we're all intuitive. So sometimes when we connect to other people's intuition, they can see for us too. And that's really important. This is not about money. What this is about your health, your well-being, your growth. So whatever is necessary for you, remember that it starts here first. When you feel that you have hit that wall, that, okay, I still need something more, that's when you can go to a reader and you can expect that it's going to be a wonderful session for you and for the reader too. And you know, that's really important, because everybody needs to get something out of this. There have been times when I've done readings and I just get so much, I leave walking on clouds because of the experience I had. So please understand, everybody, it's your session, it's your intuitive world. Really trust you, okay? Have a fantastic week, everybody. I will see you actually the week after next, because next week I'm taking a bit of a break. It is my birthday next Tuesday, and I'm taking the day off because the boys and I are going to do something I think a little special for that particular day because of our situation too with isolation. We're going to make the best of it. So next week there is no show, but we will be coming back the week after. I'm going to miss everybody, but we're going to have fun. Okay. And we're actually going to have a guest on. So we will see you then. It's a very special guest, someone who's very dear to my heart. And we're going to have a really great time. See you next week, everybody. See you on my show.